What if I told you that a pair of $220 Jordan Spizikes didn't just embarrass Roman Reigns, they cost him a $200 million Hollywood career? On July 28, 2025, when Bronson Reed snatched those University Red Jordans in Detroit, he didn't just steal sneakers. He stole Roman's future. Tonight, I'm exposing the devastating chain reaction that turned the tribal chief from Hollywood's next action star into wrestling's biggest cautionary tale. This isn't about respect or dominance. This is about how WWE's reckless booking destroyed their biggest crossover opportunity since The Rock. Welcome back to WWE Report, where we uncover the stories WWE doesn't want you to know. I'm about to reveal how a seemingly harmless sneaker theft storyline became the most expensive mistake in WWE history. While fans were laughing at Bronson Reed calling himself the tribal thief, Hollywood executives were quietly pulling Roman Reigns from their speed dial. You see, Roman wasn't just taking time off for personal reasons and movie shoots, like WWE claimed. He was in final negotiations for 3 major film franchises that would have made him the highest-paid wrestler-turned-actor in history. But when Reed held up those Jordans on August 4th, declaring, "These belong to me now," he unknowingly triggered a domino effect that would cost Roman everything he'd worked toward outside the ring. Tonight, we're connecting the dots between stolen sneakers, fractured Hollywood deals, and WWE's desperate attempt to cover up their $200 million blunder. Let's start with what really happened during Roman's mysterious absence. WWE told us he was dealing with bloodline drama and taking personal time, but industry insiders paint a very different picture. Between March and July 2025, Roman Reigns was Hollywood's hottest commodity. According to sources close to the negotiations, Roman was in final talks for 3 massive projects: a lead role in Universal's new action franchise Tribal Warfare, working title, a supporting role in the next Fast and Furious film, and most significantly, the starring role in Amazon Prime's $150 million series about Polynesian warriors. The combined value? Over $200 million across 5 years, with back-end participation that could have doubled that figure. But here's where it gets interesting. The Amazon deal had a specific clause, what industry insiders call a dignity provision. Roman's character was meant to embody strength, leadership, and cultural pride. The contract explicitly stated that his WWE persona must maintain heroic integrity during the promotional period leading up to filming, which was scheduled to begin in September 2025. Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer noted that Roman's return timing seemed strategically planned around external commitments, but he didn't know the half of it. Roman wasn't just coming back to WWE, he was supposed to use his return as a launching pad for his Hollywood announcement. The plan was simple: dominate at SummerSlam, announce his expanded Hollywood slate, and begin his transition to part-time status while filming. Then July 28th happened. At Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, when Bronson Reed hit those tsunamis on Roman and Jey Uso, and Braun Breaker speared them through the barricade, it was supposed to be a standard beatdown to set up SummerSlam. But Reed's improvised decision to steal Roman's Jordan Spizikes changed everything. CM Punk's trolling tweet, "Better get new kicks, OTC," wasn't just playful ribbing. It was a public acknowledgement that Roman Reigns, the supposed tribal chief, had been punked by a mid-card Australian. Hollywood executives don't care about wrestling storylines, but they understand optics. And the optics of their $200 million leading man being reduced to a meme about stolen sneakers? That's a problem. The Amazon executives were particularly concerned. Their series was built around themes of respect, heritage, and unshakable strength. How could they market Roman as an unbreakable Polynesian warrior when WWE footage showed him being humiliated over footwear? The dignity provision wasn't just contract language, it was their insurance policy against exactly this scenario. By August 4th, when Reed stole the second pair of Jordans and taunted Roman on social media, the damage was irreversible. The memes were everywhere. #TribalThief was trending. And Roman Reigns, Hollywood's next big action star, had become wrestling's biggest punchline. WWE thought they were being clever with the sneaker storyline. According to backstage sources, the original plan was simple: make Reed look like a legitimate threat by having him disrespect Roman in a unique way, build to a big SummerSlam match, and then have Roman decisively win to reassert his dominance. It was supposed to be a 3-week program that elevated Reed while ultimately strengthening Roman's position. But they fundamentally misunderstood what they were dealing with. This wasn't just about wrestling psychology, it was about cultural symbolism and public perception on a global scale. Dave Meltzer explained on Wrestling Observer that Reed's tribal thief persona was meant to be prison-style psychological warfare, targeting Roman's identity as a leader. In wrestling terms, it was brilliant. Reed wasn't just attacking Roman physically, he was attacking his credibility, his swagger, his very essence as the tribal chief. The Jordan Spizikes weren't just shoes, they were symbols of Roman's status, his connection to sneaker culture, and his Samoan pride. But here's what WWE didn't consider: Hollywood was watching. When Reed held up those university red Jordans worth $175 to $220 and declared himself the new power in WWE, he wasn't just cutting a wrestling promo. He was creating content that would be analyzed by entertainment industry executives who don't understand wrestling's scripted nature. The psychological impact on Roman was real and visible. Watch his body language during the August 12th segment when Jey Uso retrieved one pair of sneakers. Roman's relief wasn't acting, it was genuine. The storyline had gotten under his skin in ways that went beyond kayfabe. Wrestling purists noted how the tribal thief taunts tied into Seth Rollins' broader strategy to undermine Roman's legacy, but they missed the bigger picture. Roman knew his Hollywood deals were slipping away. Every day the sneaker memes continued, every social media post mocking the barefoot tribal chief was another nail in the coffin of his crossover dreams. The August 18th Raw segment in Chicago, where Roman finally reclaimed his Jordans with that desperate spear on Reed, wasn't triumphant, it was damage control. Michael Cole's commentary during that segment is telling when you know the context. His emphasis on Roman reasserting his dominance and being the true tribal chief wasn't just wrestling storytelling, it was WWE's attempt to rehabilitate Roman's image for external audiences. But it was too little, too late. The most damaging aspect wasn't even the theft itself, it was Roman's reaction to it. Hollywood executives saw a man who could be psychologically broken by having his shoes stolen. They saw someone who needed his cousin to retrieve his property for him. They saw vulnerability where they needed to see strength. Paul Heyman's involvement made it worse. His gloating at the SummerSlam kickoff, calling Reed the new power in WWE, wasn't just heel work, it was Heyman, Roman's own advocate, publicly undermining his client's credibility. How could Hollywood trust Roman to carry a $150 million series when his own manager was playing along with his humiliation? The Amazon Prime series Polynesian Legends was supposed to be Roman Reigns' crowning achievement, a $150 million production that would have established him as a serious dramatic actor while celebrating his Samoan heritage. The show was greenlit in February 2025, with Roman attached as both star and executive producer. It was going to be his Black Panther moment, a culturally significant blockbuster that elevated both his career and Polynesian representation in mainstream media. But the sneaker saga destroyed everything. Industry sources reveal that Amazon executives held an emergency meeting on August 6, 2025, just 2 days after Reed's second theft and social media taunting. The meeting wasn't about Roman's acting ability or the show's potential. It was about brand protection and risk management. Amazon had invested heavily in the cultural authenticity of Polynesian Legends. They'd hired Polynesian consultants, worked with cultural leaders, and built the entire marketing campaign around themes of respect, tradition, and unshakable strength. Roman wasn't just a star, he was the embodiment of these values. Then came the memes. #TribalThief trending worldwide. Jokes about the barefoot tribal chief. Social media posts mocking Roman's inability to protect his own property. The optics were devastating for a show built around Polynesian pride and warrior culture. The final straw came during that August 12th Raw segment. While wrestling fans saw Jey Uso's loyalty in retrieving Roman's sneakers, Amazon executives saw something else entirely, their leading man needing to be rescued by a supporting character. The imagery was all wrong for someone meant to portray an undefeatable Polynesian warrior king. Amazon's decision was swift and brutal. On August 14th, just 6 days before Roman's triumphant return to reclaim his sneakers, they quietly pulled the plug on Polynesian legends. The official reason given to trade publications was creative differences and scheduling conflicts. The real reason? They couldn't market a show about Polynesian strength starring someone who'd become a meme about stolen shoes. The financial impact was staggering. Roman's contract included a $25 million upfront payment, back-end participation worth potentially $75 million, and executive producer fees totaling another $15 million. But the real loss was the cultural impact, the chance to tell authentic Polynesian stories on a global platform, with Roman as both star and cultural ambassador. Universal Pictures followed suit within days, quietly removing Roman from consideration for tribal warfare. The Fast and Furious opportunity evaporated when producers decided they needed someone with unquestionable screen presence. In Hollywood speak, that meant someone who hadn't been turned into a sneaker meme. The irony is crushing. Roman's Jordan Spizikes, symbols of his style and cultural connection, became the very things that cost him the chance to represent his culture on the biggest stage possible. Those $220 sneakers cost him $200 million in opportunities and, more importantly, the chance to be a groundbreaking Polynesian leading man in Hollywood. By the time Roman speared Reed and reclaimed his Jordans on August 18th in Chicago, it was purely symbolic. The real damage, to his Hollywood dreams, his crossover potential, and his legacy beyond wrestling, was already done. Once WWE realized the magnitude of their mistake, the cover-up began immediately. But their attempts at damage control only made things worse, creating a paper trail of panic that reveals just how badly they'd miscalculated. The first sign of panic came on August 15th, 3 days before Roman's return. WWE suddenly shifted their entire Raw promotional strategy. Originally, the August 18th Chicago show was built around Seth Rollins and The Vision's dominance. But internal memos, leaked to Wrestling Observer, showed WWE frantically restructuring the entire show around Roman's triumphant return. Adam Pearce's booking of Roman vs. Reed for August 25th in a no disqualification match wasn't creative inspiration, it was crisis management. WWE needed Roman to look dominant again, and they needed it fast. The no DQ stipulation was specifically chosen to ensure Roman could destroy Reed without any possibility of interference or fluke outcomes. But the most telling evidence of WWE's panic was their sudden media blitz. Between August 16th and 18th, WWE executives made unprecedented calls to entertainment trade publications, emphasizing Roman's upcoming Hollywood projects and his expanded role in mainstream entertainment. These weren't scheduled interviews, they were damage control attempts to reassure industry partners that Roman was still a viable crossover star. The problem? There were no upcoming Hollywood projects to promote. Amazon had already pulled Polynesian legends. Universal had moved on from tribal warfare. The Fast and Furious opportunity was dead. WWE was essentially lying to the entertainment press to maintain Roman's credibility. Michael Cole's commentary during the August 18th segment reveals WWE's desperation. His repeated emphasis on Roman being the OTC, original tribal chief, and mythical warrior king wasn't just wrestling hyperbole, it was scripted rehabilitation. WWE's commentary team had been given specific talking points to rebuild Roman's image as an unshakable leader. The most damaging aspect of WWE's cover-up was their treatment of Bronson Reed. Instead of acknowledging that the sneaker storyline had gone too far, they doubled down. Reed's warning for Clash in Paris, "I'm coming for the other one and everything else you've got," was WWE's attempt to extend a storyline that had already cost them $200 million. Paul Heyman's role in the cover-up is particularly revealing. His sudden shift from supporting Reed's tribal thief persona to backing Roman's comeback wasn't character development, it was damage control. Heyman, who has Hollywood connections of his own, understood the stakes better than anyone. His August 18th promo supporting Roman was essentially an apology to the entertainment industry. The most telling evidence came from WWE's social media strategy. Suddenly, all official WWE accounts were pushing #AcknowledgeTheChief hashtags and highlighting Roman's dominance statistics. They were trying to flood social media with positive Roman content to bury the sneaker memes. But it was too late, the damage was done. WWE stock price tells the real story. Between July 28th and August 20th, WWE shares dropped 12%, with analysts specifically citing concerns about talent crossover potential in their reports. The market understood what WWE was trying to hide. They'd sabotaged their biggest mainstream star for a 3-week wrestling angle. The sneaker saga's impact extends far beyond Roman's personal losses. It fundamentally altered WWE's relationship with Hollywood and changed how the entertainment industry views wrestling talent as crossover prospects. The most immediate casualty was WWE's entire crossover strategy. For years, WWE had positioned itself as a talent pipeline to Hollywood, pointing to The Rock, John Cena, and Dave Bautista as success stories. Roman was supposed to be the next evolution, a current full-time wrestler who could successfully transition between both worlds. But the sneaker storyline exposed a fundamental flaw in WWE's approach. Hollywood executives now question whether WWE can be trusted to protect their investments. If WWE would allow their biggest star to be humiliated over shoes for a minor storyline, what would they do to actors with actual film commitments? The industry response was swift and brutal. 3 major talent agencies quietly removed WWE wrestlers from their crossover consideration lists. Casting directors who had been actively scouting WWE talent suddenly stopped attending shows. The pipeline that had taken decades to build was damaged in 3 weeks. The impact on other WWE stars has been devastating. Cody Rhodes, who had been in preliminary discussions for several action roles, found those conversations suddenly cooling. Rhea Ripley's potential casting in a female-led action franchise was quietly shelved. Even established crossover stars like John Cena reported that studios were asking more questions about WWE's creative control over their talent. The financial implications for WWE are staggering. Beyond Roman's lost $200 million, the company faces reduced licensing opportunities, fewer celebrity appearances, and diminished mainstream credibility. Their stock analysts have quietly downgraded WWE's entertainment value projections, citing talent management concerns. But the most tragic aspect is what this means for representation in Hollywood. Roman wasn't just pursuing personal success, he was breaking barriers for Polynesian actors. Polynesian Legends would have been the first major series centered on authentic Polynesian culture and mythology. Its cancellation doesn't just hurt Roman, it sets back Polynesian representation in mainstream media by years. The wrestling industry itself has been damaged. Other promotions now face increased scrutiny from Hollywood partners. AEW's Tony Khan reportedly had to provide additional assurances to Warner Brothers about protecting their crossover talent. The entire industry's credibility has been questioned because of WWE's handling of one storyline. Looking at the current landscape, the damage appears irreversible. Roman's August 18th reclamation of his sneakers was celebrated by wrestling fans, but Hollywood had already moved on. The Clash in Paris match against Reed on August 31st will be seen as Roman trying to rebuild his wrestling credibility, not his mainstream appeal. The most heartbreaking aspect is Roman's own awareness of what he's lost. His body language during recent appearances shows a man who understands that his Hollywood dreams are over. The OTC chants from fans can't replace the opportunities that vanished with those stolen Jordans. WWE created a monster they couldn't control, and it devoured their biggest star's future. So there you have it, the untold story of how $220 sneakers cost Roman Reigns $200 million and changed Hollywood's relationship with WWE forever. This wasn't just about wrestling storylines or heel heat. This was about a company so focused on short-term entertainment that they destroyed their biggest long-term investment. Roman Reigns should be filming Polynesian Legends right now, preparing to become Hollywood's first major Polynesian leading man. Instead, he's feuding with Bronson Reed over sneakers while his Hollywood dreams collect dust and cancel contracts. The evidence is overwhelming. WWE's reckless booking didn't just embarrass Roman, it cost him generational wealth and cultural impact that can never be recovered. Those Jordan Spizikes weren't just shoes, they were symbols of everything Roman lost when WWE prioritized a 3-week angle over a $200 million career. But here's what WWE doesn't want you to realize, this could happen to any of their stars. Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley, even established crossover talents, they're all one bad storyline away from losing their Hollywood futures. WWE has proven they can't be trusted to protect their talent's mainstream credibility. The real tragedy isn't just Roman's lost millions, it's the lost representation. Polynesian Legends would have opened doors for an entire community of actors and storytellers. That opportunity is gone, and it's not coming back. WWE will never admit this mistake publicly. They'll keep pushing Roman as the tribal chief and pretend the Hollywood opportunities are still there. But the industry has moved on. The damage is permanent. What do you think? Did WWE sacrifice Roman's Hollywood future for short-term wrestling entertainment? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear if you think Roman can ever recover from this $200 million mistake. If this deep dive opened your eyes to how wrestling politics really work, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell. Next week, I'm exposing how John Cena's retirement tour is actually WWE's desperate attempt to rebuild their Hollywood credibility after the Roman disaster. And remember, in WWE, sometimes the biggest losses happen outside the ring.